Hi everyone, I'm Nikki and I am here today doing a fun video hop with Altenew and Picket Fence Studios. I'm going to be working on a card and using the stamp wheel. This hop is about using this stamp wheel and showing you what it does. It's an amazing product. Make sure if you're this far in the video that you've hit like and subscribe on my channel as well as comment because that gives you a chance to win prizes. The next person in this hop will be listed in the description of this video, so make sure you go to that or go back to Altenew and find your next person so you can keep entering. I'm going to use these stencils, this amazing paper glaze Luxe, and stamps, and then of course I'm going to use a sentiment from Altenew. So we're going to combine these two companies. I'm going to take you through how to use this stamp wheel. So there's a few different parts to this stamp wheel. The top plate here is an acrylic plastic. It has some grid lines in it. It has this hole at the top so you can find where the top of your plate is. Very sturdy, flat, and fits perfectly in this device so that once you fit it perfectly, then you can stamp. So the top plate is primarily used for stamping. This grid mat has even more options. It is a sticky mat, and you'll see, I'm going to lift it up to the camera so you can see the grid or the bumpy part goes down, and then the top is nice and flat. And this is sticky so that all you have to do is put your paper down and it's going to hold it in place. So I'm going to use this stamp wheel today for three different things. We're going to do some ink blending, we're going to use stencils, and we're going to do some stamping. When I saw this Spanish moss paper glaze, I realized that this and speckled egg were very similar in color, and so I'm going to ink blend the back with speckled egg, and then I'm going to use this amazing paper glaze in a stencil over the top. Once I've gotten the ink blending done, now I just need to wipe around this area. So I brought ink onto my sticky mat so that I could blend it onto this sheet. So now I'm just using the same microfiber towel that has no fibers in it that I use to wipe off stamps. I'm just wiping around here with just a slightly wet rag, and it's coming off great. And the only reason I'm wiping it off is because I'm going to go straight to using a stencil. I'm not even going to pick the piece of paper up. I'm just going to add the stencil. Now all I have to do is place the stencil, and so the stencil will stick to this sticky mat and it will be held down. So I'm going to go around all the edges, just pressing it down, make sure I've got a nice good seal here, and then I won't have to use any tape or anything else to hold it down, which is amazing. Okay, so we're going to use this Spanish moss paper glaze Luxe. So the way that I describe this, because this is my first time using this, is it is like a stencil paste. It's kind of gritty and it has really obvious glitter in it. I mean, it is gorgeous. And of course, this color looks so good with that speckled egg Distress Oxide underneath. So I'm going to get this. This is a very detailed stencil, so I'm going to get all of these little spots covered, and this is going to be our background for the card. I will try to show it to you up close in some of the pictures so you can see the sparkle, but just let me tell you, in person, this is so sparkly and beautiful. Okay, let's stencil reveal this. This detailed stencil looks so cool. I'm just so impressed. So now you may be wondering about cleanup. With the paper glaze, you definitely want to put this directly in some water. I wasn't quite sure how to get it off of here, so I lifted that up and then I realized I've got too much here, so I decided to use a little spatula. And this is actually something that I use a lot of times for my paste, and I'm going to use that to lift it off. I'm sure people have other ideas on how to do this, but this tool worked great for me. Look at how gorgeous it turned out. It is really beautiful. Now, if you're wondering about cleanup, this is like 2 drops of Dawn and a bowl of water, and I put the stencil in there. I put everything that I use because the paper glaze dries pretty quickly, so you want to get that off as fast as possible. Then I went and rinsed that in water and just dried it off with a non-fiber towel. I'm going to use some watercolor paper and this beautiful stamp. Now this stamp is brand new to me, so I'm going to go ahead and put my watercolor to the sticky mat, which works great. And then I'm going to condition this stamp. Now if you haven't heard of this, when you got a brand new stamp, you can do this by rubbing your fingers on it or whatever, but Altenew has a really great, it's almost like an eraser, and it's made specifically for this purpose, and it works great. So I'm going to use that little tool and get all the get this stamp ready to stamp. So when you're ready to stamp, I don't have the top of this stamp wheel on. I've just got the paper there. I can decide where I want to put this, and then I can place that top plate over the top and pick up the stamp, and it will be in the exact same location. So for this one, I decided I was probably going to die cut it, so I'm just going to conserve paper and put it right here. I wanted to put my top notch up at the top of the stamp wheel, and then I'm going to slide these in from the top and then let it go down, and it fits perfectly. And this flip mechanism is just so nice. You think that like you might accidentally touch the cardstock, but as long as you put it right in its little grooves, you're not touching the cardstock and accidentally stamping. I'm going to add my powder because I'm going to do some heat embossing directly here, and I'm trying not to get it on the sticky plate, but know that it will wipe off if that happens to you. No big deal. Now let's do our stamping. One thing I like about the stamp wheel is that I can add this ink pretty firmly, whereas with my other stamping tool, I feel like I'm going to bend the open part back too far and I'm pressing on it too hard. This one, you've got this very solid base, so you can press as hard as you want. Then once you've got it inked up, you just slide this in and put it in where it fits in the plate and then let go. I did add a little pressure to it in the middle just to make sure that I got a good stamp, and I usually do my stamps 2 or 3 times. You're ensured perfect placement with this plate, which is amazing. So this is after 3 stamps, and like I said, I am going to heat emboss it. I'm going to take it out of the stamp wheel because I don't want all of this extra embossing powder to get onto my sticky mat. So I take it out and I use a coffee filter. I'm not going to take you through the whole watercoloring part, but I did want to show you that I used Altenew ink pads and just a water brush to create this look. So I went in with my lightest color, which was pale mauve, and then I came back down on each of these flowers and just made it where there's kind of a center shiny area or a center lightness. I really love that look on flowers. I think it just gives the petals so much dimension. And now I'm going to add the really dark colors. So I'm using just a teeny tiny paintbrush, a little bit of water, and these ink pads again to create this shadow. So just a little bit of dark coming in from the top, and that's just to create more of that spotlight look. I just feel like it looks so cool on the flower. I am not an expert watercolor, but I do love playing with it, and this is the look that I just really love. Last, I used the Firebrick it's like a really deep orange, and I used this to color, and I made some of the little dots darker than the others, but just to color this center part of the flower. This is not super important what color they are because I am going to use some Nuvo drops over the top to give it a little definition. And as you can see, this is a very large flower. This is an A2 size card, and I was trying to decide, I wanted something behind the flower, but I just wasn't quite sure. So I ended up wrapping a piece of vellum around the card. Some people call that a belly band, but that wrap just gives it a little bit of definition there. So I placed the flower down and put an acrylic block over the top just to hold it down, and then I'm using these greetings. It's the versatile greeting set from Altenew. Absolutely love this. If you need some greetings, I love this font, and they just have such great ones. So I'm going to decide where to put my hello, and then I'm going to show you the final card. Okay, so here's how it's looking. When I got it to this point, I liked it, but I thought I really want to put something there in that center, something sparkly or something that raises it up. So I decided to use some Nuvo drops in the center, and I just went and put drops everywhere there was a dot. So just little dots of these drops, and it just made it stand up and be a little bit shinier. I used a yellowish color so that it would kind of enhance the orange there, and when these dry, it looks beautiful. Okay, here's how it turned out. I think it just turned out so lovely. I really love this color combo. I love the paper glaze. Thank you so much for hopping along with me. Make sure you stop at the next hop. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on this channel. There are 10 different gift cards for $500 worth of prizes. So you make sure you comment below and make sure you hop along in this. You've got a great chance to win an amazing gift card to either Altenew or Picket Fence Studios. I'm popping up another video I think you'll love. Have a great day. Bye.